you know what? Like just watching you on, social media, website, it's kind of like it's always from afar, but
Mhm.
you just look like this whole package, man. What are some of your secret sauces? Like what you give us a little bit of a background, give us like the quick background of Todd, and then like where did this change come into play, and give us some secret sauce. I know that's a lot in there. I know you're very big on what you've termed the wheel of health, which I think is really
Mhm.
fascinating. I want to dive into. Yeah, why? How are you so jacked and smart? Let's just start there.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for noticing. Um, a bit of my background is that I'm probably one of the or originally was one of the least healthy people you'd know.
Yeah,
Just a total
sure.
medical disaster, and interested in not being that, but was trained to believe that those were just my predispositions,
Hmm.
and that was just the way it was. I mean, when I was I remember holding my baby boy, who's now 24, in the middle of the night while he was crying up against my chest, and he was straddling my belly, and I was like 32 or 33 at the time, thinking, well, I mean, this is it. I'm just old now, and I'm fat. And
Life's
that's the
over.
way it was going to be. Like it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm not appealing to the opposite sex anymore, and I'm not, which wasn't a big deal because I was married and everything. But um, it was over for me
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
and I was told that was the case by the doctors that I had seen. I had lots of medical problems that forced me to end up spending time in the clinics of specialists like cardiologists, ear, nose, and throat specialists. I had that nasal surgery that fixes a deviated septum,
Hmm.
um, and all sorts of problems that sprung from that. And I'm also wired in such a way to be ultra type A, which is not good for health. It flies in the face of it, and I still haven't unwound those things.
I'm
Uh,
with you there,
I
man.
aspire to be type B
Yeah,
and not give up anything for it,
yeah.
and I have not figured that. It'll take me the next decade. I
If
will
you
will
figure
arrive
that
there.
out, you
I'll figure that shit out for sure.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
All
I
right.
do all
Well,
sorts of extreme things,
okay.
and some of them will work. And when I find a potpourri of options, I'll put them all together, and we'll start
Love it.
using them on a regular basis.
Love it.
So anyway, I started in not a great place, like and because of where I've landed today, and I've got a lot of um, progress to still make, and I think I find that exciting because as I've gone through this process, I've realized that, well, I don't. I'm not gifted in these things. Anybody, if I can do this, anybody can. It's just for lack of direction, poor strategy, and the execution is off. And when those things are course corrected, I mean, genetically speaking, I think we're like about 2.5% different from each other. It's a
Hmm.
small percentage. Um, we all have that capability,
Yeah.
unless you go for too far. Like my parents, for example, are too far gone. We're managing them to the best of our ability, but like my mom has a replaced hip, and
Yeah.
and she's got chronic joint problems elsewhere, and she has sleep issues. My dad has all sorts of
Hmm.
problems that are common for an 84-year-old, and like 15 meds, and that's really tough. But
Sure.
before you get to that state, the potential, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Like if you want to increase your vertical to 40 inches, I have no doubt that there is a way for you to do it. You may have to sacrifice too much to get there.
I think you might have hit my pain point there, Todd. Like that
Yeah.
was my
Well, you
goal
mentioned
through life,
basketball. Yeah.
and I was using jump soles. Didn't quite get there, so we're still working on it. We're still working on it.
Yeah. There are ways.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I don't think I answered your question though. What was your question?
Oh no, I mean, if you could answer my question of vertical leap, I think you did it.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to dive into the wheel of health, and I've heard you speak about it. I've read about it. I want to know, like, how did that come to be? What are the benefits that we can take away from it? This is all about, you are the expert in this. How can we take away and apply it on a daily basis?
Okay, let me give you a little bit of historical context. So I'm on a
Yeah.
fishing boat with a very intelligent buddy of mine. He's the founder of. Remember the original iPhone, like
Yeah.
in 2011 or something,
Totally.
2010. The cases, they were made
Yeah.
by a company called Spec. That's
Yeah.
his company. His name's Ryan.
Wow. Okay.
I'm on a fishing boat with him, brilliant guy, and he's all excited about this book called Well that was written maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And it sort of dissected what that means. And in every single category, you're supposed to have something that's measurable that you take a look at on an annual basis to make sure that you're kind of pushing the needle forward. And he looked at me, he goes, one of them is health. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I can run a mile under 7 minutes for the rest of my life. I'm just going to make sure I can do that. And I remember looking at him thinking, oh, you don't know anything. You're so sophisticated, but there's so many other aspects of health that you have to have in order that may have nothing to do with your ability to run a 7 minute mile
Mm-hmm.
that can tank you, can destroy you, can push you into the hospital and you'll never recover from. So you just don't understand. And I had been trying to explain to him and other friends of mine for several years leading up to that what health actually is. And it was a frustration of mine. And it's easier now, like, you know, with RFK Jr. in Washington and all
Sure.
this conversation around functional health or functional medicine rather, and recover things like recovery. Like we were working on those things 14, 15 years ago. And to have conversations with people was like we were not speaking their language. It just didn't land. And so I decided, well, I have to come up with a philosophy that I can communicate over and over again, that people can understand, at least conceptually, what this thing means. And it should be complete, like not just cardiovascular health that enables you to run a 7 minute mile, but all of you. And so I went to work on that philosophy, which is the wheel of health. And I stole it. The origination of the concept.
From the Germans or the Russians or the Bulgarians?
The Russians. I stole it from the Chinese. Ooh, that sounds even more exciting. I stole it from the Chinese. And no, but it came from the old wheel of life concept. Are you familiar with that?
The wheel of life. No, I know the wheel of fortune, but not the wheel of life.
Nothing like. But you go ahead and search the wheel of life. Its concept is there's a circle. It looks like a wheel, and it's got these lines in it that I would call spokes, and it makes up this wheel. And it's got every category in your life that's really important, like your relationship with a significant other is one spoke. Your health is another spoke. Your wealth is another spoke. Your career, personal relationships, personal time, or sports, or whatever it is that is important for you as an individual. And the concept is that if any one of those spokes falls apart, like let's say your marriage, it can collapse everything else around you, or your wealth, it can certainly collapse a marriage and your career. And so the idea is that you have to spend time periodically introspectively considering all the spokes, and then strategically, how do you do something like as a parent, for example, and a business owner and a spouse? How do I make sure I'm making sure my son knows I love him, and making sure that my health is intact, and doing something that I also enjoy? And the answer is you do several spokes at once, and you just think it through so you can strategically apply that, and then you start putting it in your calendar. Like I'm gonna go hunting with my son, and we're gonna talk about relationships, and so I'm spending time with him. I'm teaching him something and doing something that I love. I'm outside as well, so there's a health implication. You kind of get the idea, and that's how I've designed my life. And I decided, well, I should. The same concept applies to health. Like the real effective tools in health are not a pharmaceutical that takes care of a sliver of your health and destroys several other things, but rather applying something like going for a walk outside with someone that affects your mental well-being, your vitamin D levels, your body composition. And so I just hit 3 spokes just by describing going for a walk. And if you start then blending things like your work life into it, so I'm going to go for a walk with a candidate. In my current work life, I would mic us both up. I'd be interviewing you. It would go into my AI note taker. I'd be present the whole time, focused on everything you're saying, asking the right questions, getting vitamin D, getting my steps in, doing my work all at the same time.
Oh, okay. So you are kind of like same thing as the wheel of life. Almost was one of those Venn diagrams where they overlap each other and you get the benefits of both.
That's the only way to do it. The overarching concept is to be healthy is how do we take our current life, that's fabulous. I mean, I'm sitting in a room, it's like 70 degrees and it's comfortable. But how do I do my work and be healthy and do things that I love all at the same time. There's no
Yeah.
balance. It's integration. So how do
Yeah.
I bring them all together?
It's a dance.
And depending,
Rhythm. It's a dance.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And so, like if I need to do some strength training, which I do 2 to 4 times a week on average, all the way around the year, um, and I don't have time to do the other things, I'll bring the other things into it, like I spend time with a close buddy, or and have them do it with me.
Yep.
You
Yep.
kind of get the idea. I don't.
Totally.
The idea is not to make sacrifices,
Yeah.
but to be strategic and be thoughtful around how to craft your life so your body is used like it was designed to be used, but you still do your job and you take care of the things that are important to you.